Well, Star Wars fans, Andor has come to an end. By the way, there will be spoilers for the Star Wars series Andor Season 2. I forgot to say that before my opening, my apologies. Anyway, Andor Season 2 has ended, thus bringing an end to the whole Andor series, the prequel to a prequel. And it could not have been done any better. I'm serious. I hope this isn't the case, but this may be the last Star Wars content we get of this kind for a long time, and we didn't know we needed it until we actually got it. I'm not saying the rest of Star Wars is bad, but this sets a new standard for what we, the older Star Wars fans, would like more of. Of course, we will enjoy a lot of the stuff to come out later and the stuff that came out before, but Andor has set a precedent for a grown-up Star Wars for those of us who have been into the franchise for a very long time. From the writing, acting, music, directing, and just about everything in between, Andor has proven its worth in the Star Wars mythos. Does that mean everything needs to be as Andor is? No. I don't know how many fans would stick around if we didn't eventually get at least some semblance of what Star Wars has been in the past. Lightsabers, space battles, and so on. Andor has proven that not every Star Wars story has to include these things, though. So, an equal balance would be great. I cannot overstate how much I have enjoyed this show. It has left me with some deep thoughts, not just about Star Wars, but also about our own real world, politics, which I don't talk about here, the relationships we carry, how we treat one another, and how connected we all really are. Subscribe to my channel. The characters in Andor are rich and diverse. We have the loner criminal in Cassian Andor who eventually learns that taking everything on alone sets the standard for who you are. But eventually we need others to completely become what we are meant to be. I am on the fence about his original search for his sister. Yes, it would have been a happy ending if he were to find her, but on the other hand, sometimes we have questions in life that do go unanswered. Sometimes our searches turn up empty, and that's a part of life. I thought the Andor series explored that very well. Everything isn't wrapped up nicely for a happy ending in our own lives either. Sometimes there's failure. Sometimes we wonder our whole lives of what could have been. And sometimes we never find that person we are looking for. Cassian Andor is the embodiment of this idea. Then we have Cyril Karn, whom you all know by now did not make it to the end of Andor. Some would say his death was unceremonious. That just as he was realizing what he had become, a pawn, and what he was searching for was all a lie, and the establishment, the empire, not being what he envisioned or what he was told. He was taken out. A lot of people say they wished he had joined the rebellion or at least taken on a quiet life in seclusion, possibly even showing he died bravely in one of the battles against the Empire. But life isn't like that. We look for ceremonious deaths in Star Wars because it gives the characters a deeper, more profound meaning to their whole existence in a Star Wars show or movie, such as Andor. But life isn't like that. Sometimes people are killed in a botched robbery, have a heart attack while pumping gasoline, or hit by a drunk driver in a hit and run. Of the people I have known who are no longer with us, not one of them has a ceremonious death. But it didn't take away from who they were, their accomplishments, their dreams, their goals, the love they had for their families. One moment, they're here. The next moment, they're gone, without any deeply worded monologue or even a goodbye. I think Cyril Karn represents that so well. He was on the verge of becoming something different, but before he could finish the thought, he was gone. There was no monologue from his dying breath. One minute he was contemplating his life choices, then poof. With a lot of the characters in Andor, we get to see what war does to love. With Cassian and Bix Colleen, Wilman Pack and his chosen love at the moment, Cyril Karn and his love for Dedra Meero, as misplaced and misunderstood as it was, and Vel Sartha and Senta Vel, we see the romantic side. But there's another kind of love affected by the tragedies of the Star Wars galaxy. Cassian Andor and Marva Andor, the parental love. Mon Mothma and her love for the entire galaxy. Wilman Pack and his father Salman Pack, showing another kind of family love that shows us knowledge passed down through generations, and the communal love in Ferrix with the closely knit daughters of Ferrix and the general population. The sacrifices we make are not always intentional. We fight for those we love, hoping they will join us on the other end of the battle, and all battles are not always war. But regardless of what our battle is, we hope to achieve victory with and for the ones we love the most. This was more of a secondary theme of the Star Wars Andor series, but it was a strong message that carried all the way through to the end. Spoilers ahead. I really had hoped Perrin would have confessed his love for Mon Mothma. I thought it would be as he sacrificed himself. However, when Mon Mothma was last in the Senate, getting ready to step onto the Senate floor, I knew this wasn't going to happen, and I was okay with it. But what Tony Gilroy came up with was much better, and it made me realize I need to think outside the box a little more. With Perrin Firtha ending up with Davos Sculdun's wife, he definitely gets what's coming to him later on, I'm sure. I wonder if she told him she wouldn't be with him if he didn't cut his hair. Nevertheless, having an adulterous relationship with a crime boss's wife is probably a bad idea. Like I really need to say that, but I guess the PP wants what the PP wants, even in a galaxy far, far away. Or maybe, just maybe, Perrin is on a suicide mission now that he's pretty much lost everything. I'm pretty sure most of the money and trappings in life belonged to Mon Mothma. Not to mention his daughter is now married and Mon Mothma is sporting a new sexy hairdo in the rebellion without him. Yes, I know her hairdo matches Rogue One and Return of the Jedi. It's okay. It'll be all right, my little pookies, I promise. I didn't mention the love between Luthen Rael and Clea because I thought it deserved its own section here, even though it was another parental type of love mixed with respect for the roles they had taken on. I'm really not trying to spoil too much here, but let's just say that Clea's act was one of true love for Luthen. You could tell it tore her apart to have to make that decision, but she knew what the end result would be if she didn't go through with it. Not so much for the rebellion, but for Luthen himself. Yeah, screw it. Another spoiler warning. Clea watched Luthen take his last breath. She stayed by him until the very end. Another unceremonious death in Andor, and I'm happy for that. I'm sure most people expected some well-thought-out monologue by Luthen before putting the knife to himself. But I think his ending was beautiful and allowed us a real chance to see how these two were brought together. I think this was the most heartbreaking death in Andor, among all the heartbreaking deaths. The Star Wars Andor series has changed a lot of my views on topics in Star Wars. As I said in the beginning, I don't know if we will get another Star Wars story this well written, directed, and acted. But that isn't to say I don't like the other stuff. I said that before. I mean, I became a fan in 1977 with bad dialogue and weird plot lines. And it wasn't because of lightsabers or large space battles, it's the story. No matter if we're talking about Jedi or Sith or galactic politics, finding love in deep space, or regular people giving everything to fight oppression, Star Wars has something for all of us. It can bring out the child in us, and it can evoke the internal revolutionary and those seeking a better life for the greater good of humanity. It shows us that our differences are not so different when we really think about it, and that we all want basically the same thing. Peace and mutual respect. We want to live our lives free of a regime that is more like an overlord. And no, I'm not getting into my own personal politics here. These are generalizations, guys. Sorry. The biggest thing I love about the Star Wars Andor series is the way it brought most of the fandom together. Sure, everyone won't be happy and isn't happy. A mystery spy thriller set in Star Wars isn't everyone's cup of tea. And that's okay. Let's just hope we get more that are written, directed, and acted in the same manner of care, no matter what the subject. We honestly didn't know we needed Andor in Star Wars. I even questioned why this character, when the first season of Andor was announced, was so important and why he deserved his own show. But here we are, and I'm grateful for it. I plan on doing in-depth character studies of those in Andor. I may be talking about this show for a while, so buckle up. It's crazy how much I like this show and its complexities. Subscribe to my channel, and don't forget that I will be doing a special live stream with Clan Brandalorian on May 18th at 1 p.m. United States Eastern Time, and we will be having drinks and discussing our feelings on Andor unscripted. I haven't talked about it to him yet, so everything will be unleashed live. So, see you there. Until the next time, may your inner revolutionary be with you, or the Force, if that's what you choose.